All right, so in this video, we are finishing up the lobster class. I'm hoping that you actually tried to do this before watching the video so that you can really get a good idea of what you should be doing in further scenarios. If you do just watch the video and kind of copy my code, it's not going to be half as beneficial. Let's get started. So we've already done this piece. We created a new class and that we also created a lobster in general. We also made the lobster move as described above. So let's go and review that. So in the lobster class, it moved 75% of the time, it just moved straight. The other 25% it moved, and then half of that time it turned right, and then the other half it turned left, equally as often. So just note too that this if statement is within these two brackets. So this one and this one. So it's in that else statement. So it's only for the 25% of the time. Half the time, which is actually 12.5% of the time, do this, 12.5% of the time do that. The next piece they wanted us to add for movement is the part where it says add more code that will turn the lobster completely around 180 degrees when it touches the edge of the world. So let's do that. So pretty simple. You should remember this from earlier on with little crab. Just simply if is at edge. Okay, if that equals true, then we want to turn 180. Okay, so very simple. If this lobster is at the edge of the world, turn 180 degrees. Okay, so we've got that piece. Now we should be using proper program decomposition. If you remember what that is, or in case you don't remember what that is, that's where we create a new method. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to have one that deals with movement. So I'll call it movement, obviously, starting with a lowercase m. Then I'm going to create open close brackets, and I am going to copy. I'm actually going to cut and paste this entire thing into movement, and then I'm going to call the movement method. This is so that it organizes our code in a way that is more piecemeal. It's a little bit more organized for us so we know where our stuff is. So let's see that our code actually does this as described here. So when we add a lobster to the world, it should run, turns off course 25% of the time. If it hits a wall, it turns 180. Awesome. Okay, a couple other pieces here. Add code to make the lobster eat the crab when it comes in contact with it. So let's do that. That's the next part. We can start off simply by using proper program decomposition right from the beginning, right from the get-go. So we'll do that with this. And we'll call this method eat crab. And what we're going to do is create that new method, public void eat crab. And we'll go like so. Great. And what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that it eats the crab. So same thing, if you're not even sure, if you're kind of wondering how does she expect me to figure this out, you can go to crab and see that, hey, we've got something that checks for worms to see if it eats a crab. So let's see, what's this code? Okay, if I can see the worm equals true, then eat the worm and play a slurp sound. So what we're going to do with the lobster, okay, we can then go over the lobster code. We can do something very similar. So if can see in brackets lobster dot class, if that equals true, Oh, sorry, not lobster. I apologize. Eat crab because we are the lobster. Okay, if we can actually see the crab, then eat crab.class. And we're actually I'm going to see, does it have any other sounds in our Greenfoot scenario? Let me double check. I think if we go into sounds, there's this funny one that says aw. I'm going to make it say that as well. So I'll do Greenfoot.play sound. And I'm going to make it play the sound aw.wav. So again, if we're unsure of this, we can look back or we can look at documentation to see how do I check to see if I can eat or what I can eat or how I can eat things, and how can I check to see if I can see things. That's by looking at the animal documentation. So can see, okay, we'll return a Boolean, therefore we can use an if statement, and we have to give it the particular class we're looking to see, and then eat doesn't return anything, but it eats the object. And again, there is, we just have to let know what particular class. So let's test our code out. I'm going to add a lobster and I'll unplug. Hear this. Oh, wait, we got to put a crab in, of course. Okay, and I'm going to try and get it run over. Ow. All right. Hopefully you guys heard that ow. And that's about it, I think, for this little scenario so far. Soon.